Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I know that I haven't uploaded in a little bit. It's been about 2 weeks. Just had some actual work stuff to take care of. I was also doing some stuff on the background for this channel, just trying to get a little bit efficient on my end so I can put out more videos. But we're back now, so no need to worry about that. If you are watching this video, drop a like on it, subscribe. I'm going to be posting fantasy football content the rest of the year, and I'm coming back at you with my first video. It's going to be my top 25 running backs for week 7 of fantasy football. And even though I haven't been uploading videos, trust me, I've still been on the grind. I've still been doing my research, and now we have actual data to go off of, so it makes it a lot easier. But we are dealing with bye weeks and injuries, so we got to take all of that into account. Anyways, though, let's get right into it. First up, we're going to be having Saquon Barkley, the clear running back 1 on the year and for the rest of the season, unless he gets hurt. The Giants have been much better than I think everyone expected, and he is one of the few actually elite workhorse running backs left in the NFL. Nobody gets the workload like he does, and he's pretty much going to be the running back 1 every single week, regardless of matchup. He is going up against Jacksonville this week, which has been very friendly to running back, so just a smash matchup for him. After him, I'm going to be having Austin Eckler up next. He's finally gotten his full pretty much workhorse role back, and the offense, although has not been very good, he's been getting all the receiving work and a ton of other usage all across the field. Also this week, going up against the Seattle Seahawks, I imagine that he'll be utilized a lot. It's also a great matchup. There's a decent chance that Keenan Allen will be back, so that's just going to help out the offense a ton, and overall will help Eckler out. And another person who has just been dominating the past couple weeks, so keep playing him as a top elite RB and feel absolutely great about it. And the last guy I'm going to have in this tier is Christian McCaffrey, who has a really tough matchup this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he's one of those few guys who's actually matchup proof. It doesn't matter the matchup. He's going to be a top 5 running back basically every week. He's a running back 3 on the year with as bad of an offense that he's playing in. He just does not matter for him. You're playing him every single week, no matter what. I don't think anyone's not, but these 3 guys are who are going to have in this first tier for this week. Moving on now to the second tier. The first guy I'm going to have there is Derrick Henry, who is coming off of bye, and he's playing the Indianapolis Colts, who he already dominated once this year. So just another opportunity for him to absolutely crush. Coming off a bye week too, he should be all good to go. So no need to worry about that. Start Derrick Henry as a top 5 running back this week, in my opinion. After Henry, I'm going to have Joe Mixon, who is playing the Atlanta Falcons, which is actually relatively a tough matchup for running backs. A lot of that is just due to the fact that they aren't good against the wide receivers. So there's been a lot of points going there. The Cincinnati Bengals finally kind of seem to figure out their offense. It does seem to be getting a lot better. It definitely was last week for everybody. And he's getting over a 70% snap share in every single game. He's also being utilized in the receiving game a good amount. So pretty strong matchup for him and great usage on an improving offense that I could see him being ranked a little bit lower, but regardless, I think he's pretty safely in this tier too. After him, I have another guy who's just been absolutely dominating the usage and on the field. It's Leonard Fournette going up against the Carolina Panthers, which is one of the best matchups for running backs. He got 6 or more targets in the last 4 games, so not much to worry about his usage. He's also being utilized in the red zone as a receiver and obviously in the rushing, so his usage, and although the offense isn't as good as we all expected it to be, he's still like the main bright spot in it for right now, and I think that he'll keep going to him since they can trust him, and Brady goes to guys that he can trust. So Leonard Fournette, another great option every single week. All right, next up in my running back 7, I'm going to have Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, this is contingent that Damien Harris doesn't play. We all thought that his injury would be a lot longer than it seems like it's going to be because he was questionable and kind of tested it out at game time last week, where I think most of us thought that he was going to be out for multiple weeks. But as long as he's out, Ramondre Stevenson is at least like a top 8 running back, if not higher. He absolutely dominated last week, and he got basically all the work, which isn't very common in the Bill Belichick offense, but Ramondre Stevenson absolutely dominated. So if Damien Harris isn't playing, got to be in your lineup no matter what. After him, I have Nick Chubb, who had his first down week of the season last year. He's also going up against the Baltimore Ravens, which isn't an easy matchup, but not like a really hard matchup. So pretty middle of the road. But this is always the worry with Nick Chubb. You know, if he doesn't get those touchdowns, and he normally doesn't have a good fantasy game, but he's just shown to be so elite this year. And New England defense is honestly really good, especially against running backs. They actually allowed the 3rd least points to running backs on the entire season. So it makes sense that he kind of struggled against them, although you would imagine that he can kind of dominate any matchup. The Ravens are a lot better matchup, and I expect a better week from him, but I just don't have him in that top tier this week, although he probably is around like a top 5 running back rest of the season, just given kind of the entire landscape of it. And the last guy I have in this tier is Jonathan Taylor. This is also obviously contingent on if he plays, and if he was fully healthy, he'd obviously be ranked higher than that. Well, I'm just, we're not totally sure on that yet. Regardless though, if he plays, he's obviously going to be in your lineup, and he's an easy top 10 play. I just kind of put him at the back of this tier because I didn't know exactly what to do with him. But if he plays, simple, he's in your lineup. Going up against the Tennessee Titans, actually a pretty tough matchup for running backs, but it looks like the Colts offense has gotten a little bit better since he's been out, and hopefully he'll be able to take advantage of that once he's finally back. And I do expect that to be this week. week. But he's the last guy I have here in my tier 2. I'm a running back 9. Moving on to my running back 10, I'm going to have Alvin Kamara. He could also probably be in this next tier, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to be playing him regardless. Going up against the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. He's back to that elite usage that we're used to with him. 19 rushes and 9 targets last week. That kind of usage is what we're used to with him, and he's going to keep being great as long as he gets that usage. Hasn't found the end zone, but we know that he's elite there. There's definitely positive regression coming in that area. So honestly, if you can go trade for him right now, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I do think that he's going to get even better than he's shown and should be a great option every single week going forward. Next up, I got Josh Jacobs coming off a bye. They're going up against the Houston Texans, which have given up the most points to running backs this year. So I imagine that he's going to absolutely dominate. He's been really good this year. I think a lot better than most of us expected to. He's getting a way higher snap share and opportunity share than I think most of us expected to with the new offense and Josh McDaniels coming in. He doesn't tend to run a lot of workhorse running backs. He normally likes to go to a committee approach, but he hasn't been doing this year. And Josh Jacobs has been absolutely great. Going up against the easiest defense for running backs, he should absolutely smash this week. So make sure you got him in your lineup as well. After him, we're going to have the rookie Ken Walker. Now that Rashad Penny is out for the year, he's obviously the workhorse and has taken over. Absolutely balled out last week, and going up against the LA Chargers this week, who have given up the 4th most points of running backs, he should absolutely dominate. I also imagine that they'll be putting up a lot more points than they did last week, so even more opportunities to score. So should be an absolute smash play this week. After him, another person coming off the bye is DeAndre Swift. Pretty tough matchup against Dallas Cowboys, who have given up some of the least amount of points to running backs on the year. Also coming off of an injury and the bye week, he should be good to go. We still got to see the practice reports as the week progresses, and Jamal Williams has been pretty good, and he was being used beforehand, so I don't imagine that Swift will have a workhorse role, but he's not somebody that needs that to be elite. He just needs like 15 touches or so, and he's going to be absolutely great for fantasy, and I imagine he's going to be fully healthy and should be getting that, so he should be great. The matchup and coming off the injury just lowers him a little bit from where he normally will be, but probably still going to be in your lineup no matter what. And the last guy I have in this tier is Breece Hall at my running back 14. He's taken over that backfield in New York and has been absolutely dominant with him. I definitely had a plan to kind of buy him later in the season because I did not think that he would be this good this early. I've tried to get him where I can get him. I got him about half the leagues that I'm in. And I think as the year goes on, he's just going to keep getting better and better. He does have a tough matchup this week against the Denver Broncos, so I got him a little bit lower in the rankings, but still an elite option basically that's going to be in your lineup no matter what. And the last guy that I have in this tier 3, so we're going to move on to tier 4 now. On my running back 15, I'm going to have Aaron Jones going up against the Washington Commanders. He has definitely been a disappointment this year, has had a couple good weeks, but overall pretty disappointing. He still looks unbelievable when he gets the ball. They just haven't been getting him the ball. And Aaron Rodgers and the coaching staff has talked about getting him the ball more. So hopefully they do that. I do kind of imagine that going forward, but I can't really put him any higher just given how these young studs have produced so far and all these other guys. I still think that he's a good option that's probably going to be in your lineup every single week, given he has some of the highest ceiling on a week-to-week basis, but he also has shown to have a pretty low floor. I'm hoping that they give him the ball more going forward, but can't really project that right now. We got to wait and see. AJ Dillon has not been very good. Probably someone who you want to avoid in your lineup for right now. But I think around this running back 15 area is a good spot for Aaron Jones right now. After Aaron Jones, I got Jeff Wilson. They're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, which have given up the 5th most points to running backs on the year. So a great matchup for them. He's also looked really good. Had kind of a down week last week, but still got most of the touches and snaps in the backfield. So I'm not too worried about his usage. They just had to throw the ball a ton. There is a chance that happens again, but regardless, I think that they're going to try to get him more involved this week, and he should be a great play. After him, another rookie that's coming off a bye, Dameon Pierce. Going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, has been a pretty middle-of-the-pack team against running backs. He does get pretty much all the work now, kind of completely taking that over. And so purely just based off of volume, he's got to be ranked around here. Could even be at the top of this tier if you wanted him to, but doesn't really matter. I think right around here is where he's got to be ranked right now. He is on one of the worst teams in the NFL, and although he has been getting receptions and targets, he's still not getting that 2-minute drill or all the third down work. So once he gets that, he could be ranked even higher. Probably will be by the end of the year, but for right now, kind of ranking him in this middle running back 2 area. And the last guy that I have in this tier is Ezekiel Elliott. He's actually looked pretty good this year. Definitely still splitting the snaps though with Tony Pollard. Dak Prescott is coming back, so the offense should be a lot better. and they're playing the Detroit Lions, which have given up the second most points to running backs on the year. So I think that this week Zeke is actually a really good play. They actually have a stretch run of games coming up that I think is pretty good. So for the few weeks going forward, he should be actually a pretty decent play for everyone. He's definitely not that elite option, obviously, anymore. Doesn't have the same explosiveness. Tony Pollard's getting a ton of work there. We do have to see how the offense looks with Dak to get a better idea, but should be a solid play this week. Now, moving on to the last tier at my running back 19, we are going to have one of the biggest busts of the year, Najee Harris. It has been absolutely tough sledding for him. I only have him in one league, luckily, but that one league, I kind of just made a bunch of bad draft choices. I have Keenan Allen, got Hollywood Brown, which has been great, obviously, up until this week. Michael Thomas, Kyle Pitts, just a brutal road for me in that league. Regardless, that's not what we're here for. Najee, he did get a touchdown last week, which is good to see. The thing with him is that he was always this volume-based guy, never has been an efficient runner. That's not his thing, but he had some of the most touches in the entire NFL last year, and he is not getting that. Jaylen Warren is getting a lot of touches, and they also have had a really tough stretch of games. They have a little bit easier matchup this week against the Miami Dolphins, but they got the Philadelphia Eagles next week, then they got a bye, and then the New Orleans Saints, so still going to be tough for him. He has been dealing with an injury, and he said last week that they finally took this metal plate out of his shoe and that he should be 100% good to go. I'm really hoping that's the case, and that explains why he has been the way he has been. I can't project that, though, obviously, until we see it on the field. It was nice to see him get in the end zone last week, but besides that, it was not good. They did have a really, really tough matchup against the Buccaneers, which I hope can be part of the reason why that happened. But this week, I think, should be a lot more telling since they're going to be going up against the Miami Dolphins, which is a better matchup. So this week should tell us a lot about Najee, what it's going to be like him going forward. I got him ranked right here for right now. After him, I got David Montgomery, who is going up against the New England Patriots in prime time, which they've actually given up the third least amount of points to running backs on the year. So tough matchup for him, but he's back to his workhorse role for the most part. Khalil Herbert will still get some work here and there. He just looks so explosive every time he gets the ball. It's definitely worrisome for the Monty owners. And then hopefully you have Khalil Herbert if you have Montgomery, but it's just tough because they both seem to be getting work. So you can't obviously play Khalil Herbert, but it's just taking away from Montgomery's upside. He's still probably going to be around this low end running back 2 for right now. I got him ranked right here, my running back 20 this week. After him, I'm going to have Raheem Mostert, who is going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Actually, pretty middle of the road defense against running backs. I do think that this offense is going to be a lot better now that Tua should be back this week. And the secondary for the Steelers is banged up and has not been very good. So I think that there's going to be a lot of scoring opportunities, and Mostert has basically completely taken over that workhorse role in Miami. So if there's going to be production from a running back, it's going to be coming from him. And he still looks fast. I mean, he's not quite as fast as he was a couple years ago. Obviously, he's a 30-year-old running back, and I'm definitely worried about him getting hurt. He just has never been able to stay healthy. But as long as he's healthy, I think he should be ranked around here. Pretty solid start if you got him. After him, I got Travis Etienne, who has kind of started to take over the backfield in Jacksonville. It still is a relatively 50-50 timeshare, but Travis Etienne has outsnapped James Robinson the past 2 weeks, although it is very close. Travis Etienne has outsnapped him and outproduced him, which are both really good signs, but you can't really rank him any higher since he's still not getting close to all the work. If that does happen for some reason, probably won't though, unless James Robinson gets hurt. But if that happens for some reason, he could be ranked higher. But for right now, right around this running back 20 to 24 range is going to be good for him. I got him at my running back 22 right now. After him, I got Kareem Hunt. It's kind of the same story with him every week. He's always going to have a chance to score because he's going to get touches and he's a great running back, but he's behind Nick Chubb and he'll never take over that role for him unless he gets hurt, obviously. But he's always going to be a low end running back too, just based off his talent, the way that they use him in the passing game mostly, and he will get some rushes, but you can't really rank him any higher. It's also not a great matchup, pretty middle of the road against Baltimore. If they are down, you can definitely project Kareem Hunt to do a little bit better, and they are 6.5 point underdogs. So if that is the case, it'll lead to a better Kareem Hunt game, but the Ravens just have not been able to close things out. So we'll see. I got him ranked here, my running back 23 this week. And then after him, I'm actually going to have Brian Robinson, who had his first NFL game last week, scored a touchdown. He wasn't great, 17 carries for 60 yards. He also got in the end zone, but the team trusts him. The team is going to keep using him. He's going to keep getting 15 to 20 touches every single game. And that is extremely valuable in fantasy, especially for somebody they drafted really late or picked up off the waiver wire. I think as long as he's healthy, this, 25 right around running back 25 range is where he's going to be. The matchup against the Green Bay Packers is pretty nice too. They do have a backup quarterback coming in, Taylor Heineke. I guess, is he really a backup? He's not that much worse than Carson Wentz. I mean, I guess we'll see, but Wentz has been pretty bad this year, so I can't imagine it being too much worse. But regardless, he's going to get touches, so I got him ranked here this week. And the last guy I have in my top 25 is James Robinson. You know, he's still getting that 50-50 timeshare with ETN for the most part and has looked good earlier in the year, but the past couple weeks has been tough. But given his volume and the talent we've seen from him this year, he's still in like kind of flex consideration. I got him ranked right here in my top 25, but I understand if you got your concerns and want to put him lower. You know, if somebody like if James Conner or, you know, Benjamin play, then I would probably want to play them over him. I mean, if James Conner ends up playing, then I don't know. I would probably have him somewhere in this tier still. I don't know exactly where, but I don't know for sure if he's going to play. Eno would be a little bit lower, but still probably right around here if he does play. But it's just still too early in the week to tell. We have no idea. They are playing on Thursday Night Football, so we're going to know by them. If you have questions about that, leave them in the comments down below. I also don't have CEH ranked here. He has not been good, and they're going up against San Francisco, so tough matchup for them. If there's anybody else that you want to hear about, let me know. Put it in the comments down below. I'll be able to get back to you. Going to be uploading my wide receiver video next, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see y'all there.